When it comes to nostalgic pieces of music history, there's absolutely nothing that can compete with the brief existence of the classic 8-track cassette tape. The technology is actually properly called Super 8, and while it was a big hit in the 60s and 70s in the United States, it never really caught on outside of the States as a format. Stereo 8 was actually created by a music consortium in 1964, and companies on the project included Ampex, Motorola, RCA Records, the Ford Motor Company, and it was led by none other than Bill Lear of Learjet fame. The base technology behind 8-tracks goes back to reel-to-reel recordings, which were commonplace in the 1940s and 50s. But the ones they had then were far too expensive and bulky to be used by consumers. Also, the threading process for reel-to-reels is very complicated, and even the slightest mistake can completely destroy the tape. Throughout the 1950s, a number of manufacturers developed different prototypes that kept the tape in place within the cartridge, but these were almost exclusively used for lo-fi vocal dictation machines. Then in 1958, the RCA company introduced a technology called sound tape, which was supposed to be used for music reproduction by consumers, but it really failed to catch on and it was discontinued. In 1963, as we've previously discussed, we have the appearance of the compact cassette tape, but we know that this took some time to catch on as well. So in 1965, Stereo 8 is officially released to the market, with the Ford Motor Company having factory-installed 8-track players available as an option on a handful of their vehicles in 1966. And at the same time, RCA brought to market nearly 200 musical recordings in the 8-track format. Before 1967 was out, the Ford upgrade option was available on every single one of their models. In 1966, at-home 8-track players begin to appear on the consumer market. During this time, people began to see the 8-track as an easier alternative to vinyl records. And by the end of 1967, there was only about a month's delay between the original album release on vinyl and its subsequent 8-track version. In the 1970s, even high-end cars like Rolls-Royce and Bentleys had 8-tracks installed in their cars. And even into the 80s, you can find 8-tracks as options on many vehicles. However, as the 1970s wore on, the 8-track would see one of the most rapid disappearances of any format in the entire history of music. There were a number of reasons why people dislike 8-tracks, the biggest being that you could not rewind them, as well as their frequency and jamming when the lubricant wore off or they even got the least bit dirty. Also, pitch and frequency were constant issues on 8-tracks, and as time went on and cheaper parts were being used for mass productions, these issues got even worse. As the compact cassette and even the compact disc began to move into the market in the late 70s and early 80s, the 8-track became more and more scarce, and by 1982, nearly every single large music house had stopped shipping them to retailers. There were still some artists putting out music on 8-tracks as late as 1988, but these were pretty much for nothing more than nostalgic purposes. Though they faded quickly and have earned a special, almost comical place in music lore, there's no question that due to its convenience and its portability, the 8-track cassette remains one of the most important inventions in all of music history.